Oliver Askew, he's in 12th. Okay, that's not where that car is supposed to be. No one expect that car to be in there, but he's a rookie. So right now for him, the thing is to concentrate on being the best rookie. So that's the best thing he could do for himself, and I think that should work out for him. And next year it will be the real reckoning to see where he really fits in. So he got to take this year as a learning year, or maybe towards the end of the season, start making some moves, start threatening Patricio O'ward more. So that's what we'll see if that happens. Number 10, Alexander Rossi. He's in 10th, but barely, and but so far his season hasn't been going to plan, and that podium at Road America saved him in race 2 at Road America, so that's what saved him. But besides that, it wouldn't have worked out. It's not really working out as good as he has hoped, especially with Colton Herta and the team. He really wants to have his A game on, because that's some fierce competition in the team. Hey, because I'm sure Penske will be looking and Ganassi are looking. Well, sure, Andretti is a top team, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. It's a top team, but it's not a team where you are banking on to become drivers' champion. So far, if you want to be drivers' champion, you have to either go with Ganassi or Penske. So that's what I'm seeing around. That's what I'm seeing around right now. They seem to be stretched too thin, and it seems they cannot have more than one elite drivers. But I believe Alexander Rossi and Colton Herta are elite drivers, but right now that Colton Herta isn't the team, Alexander Rossi have fell back. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's the pressure of Colton Herta being the team kind of rattled him in a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he's not rattled, but he's kind of aware that there's another Super Saiyan in the team. So that kind of like, okay, I need to get my performance up, and that kind of threw him off his game a little bit. So he just got to concentrate on himself and do what he did last year, and I think he should be fine. Number 9 overall is Felix Rosenqvist. So aside from that win in race 2 at Road America, his season is a disaster, plain and simple. That's it. He seems fast, and yeah, he could win. He could have won, probably 2 races by now, but his season is just a disaster, and he needs to pick it up. Marcus Ericson is in the team, and Marcus Ericson is 1 position ahead of him in 8th place, but Felix was considered the higher caliber driver. Hopefully he comes up. He's in the Ganassi after all, and he got good support. He got his agent Scott Dixon. He got Chip Ganassi himself, so he's entrenched in the team. So he just gotta, all he has to do is focus on delivering, and it should go well for him. But if Marcus Ericson beats him, that would not look too good. So it just wasn't. It's not gonna look too good. And Marcus Ericson, he could be the dark horse here. People don't really expect for him much, I mean, just because he came from Formula 1, he doesn't really scare anyone in IndyCar because he was not a top driver. And but still, he could win the race this year, and that would be very, I guess, pretty good, pretty awesome. So it would be different. So IndyCar has something for everybody. Colton Herta leading the charge for Andretti. I had expected whoever's leading the charge for Andretti Autosport to be higher in the standings than 7th overall. But it is what it is, 7th overall. So maybe Andretti Autosport, like I had said before, is no longer a top team. Generally, I think we can all agree that to win a championship, the Drivers' Championship, you have to either go with Ganassi or Penske. Andretti Autosport is no longer in the mix. I think the last Drivers' Champion was Graham Rahal, and I believe that was in 2012. And I'm sure Colton Herta and Alexander Rossi, they see the trend too. Aside from Iowa, Colton Herta was doing pretty good until Iowa, because he was 5th overall or 4th overall until Iowa came and he had those incidents. But generally, it seems like he's a good on road courses. So I remember last year, Alexander Rossi mentioned that his car just wasn't fast enough to compete with the Penske and the Ganassi. So this year, that's what they need to focus on to make their car, get the engineers to make the car slightly faster. So because Colton Herta is doing good on the road courses, so maybe if the car was a little faster, he could really make a dent. He could really go for podiums and wins. I expect podiums still from him this year sometimes, even a win, and even from Alexander Rossi, and we'll see how that goes. But Colton Herta should improve, so Alexander Rossi in 10th position needs to really ante up. Right now, the real dark horse is Graham Rahal. But it's kind of funny because no one who's been watching Graham Rahal's career would have ever said that Graham Rahal would ever be a dark horse anywhere, because Graham Rahal was supposed to be a champion, was supposed to be pretty much, if Graham Rahal had been a 5-time champion or even 6-time champion, he wouldn't be a dark horse because that's how good everybody thought he was. So nothing is should surprise us about him. Will Power, he's a streaky driver. He had pole positions, fastest lap, he has led laps, but he has also made plenty of mistakes, and that's why he's in 5th position. He's firmly 3rd in Penske, pretty much last of the, he's like last in the Penske team. At least he's with Penske, so that's good. So you'd rather be last on the top team than, you know, than last on the middle team. 4th overall, Patricio O'ward. Normally he would have been the dark horse, but personally I expected it. I mentioned that in my review now that this team is expecting wins. They're expecting him to be in the top 5 overall by the end of the season. That's what they're expecting, because we saw the results the team had when Simon Pagenaud was there. He was, the worst he finished overall was 5th, and that was it. The worst he finished in standing was 5th over a full season. Other than that, he was 3rd. So now they have a lot more resources. McLaren is on the bandwagon. They got Aero on the bandwagon. So it's a lot more money going in. So this is where they expect themselves to be. That's why they had that 5 years out. 5 years out is to win the championship, the driver's title, to be in the lead, to really be considered a legitimate top team. So this is year 2, and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. It could have been better for him. He could have had 3 wins. He and Scott Dixon, Patricio O'Ward and Scott Dixon could have been the only 2 drivers with 3 wins. Race 2 at Road America, he could have won it. Race 1 at Iowa, he could have won it. Race 2 at Iowa, he could have won it. So that would have been 3 straight wins for him. And I think maybe he might be leading the championship then, or maybe close to. But I think he would have been leading the championship. But the pit crew kind of let him down. It's not really their fault because they're kind of rusty, and I gotta say that the pit crew, I think there's some fatigue among the pit crews. It's not just his pit crew, but a lot of pit crews have some fatigue, and some of the drivers, especially because every weekend they've had races. So that comes into play. Except for this weekend, there won't be a race, but every weekend so far they've had a race. So, and then the pit crew they're not as well accommodated as the drivers, so they kind of have a grueling life. You know, it's been grueling for them. So, but the pit crew has let him down, and but he could have had 3 race wins. Race 2 at Road America, his tires faded, so that's not the pit crew's fault. But in Iowa, he could have won both races if the pit crew had it all together. But it didn't happen. But he's going to keep improving, and he got that confidence now, so I'm sure he's going to push himself even harder, and the pit crew is going to see that, whoa, we are part of the elite teams now. The Simon Pagenaud days are back. And now the top 3. It's Joseph Newgarden 3rd, Simon Pagenaud 2nd, and Scott Dixon 1st. Scott Dixon's 1st, but in my preview I had mentioned that Penske is a top team, and I still think Penske is still a top team because Penske has all 3 of their drivers in the top 5. Ganassi has 1 driver, and Aero McLaren has 1 driver. Penske has all 3 of the drivers, so that's the top team. Scott Dixon is leading the championship. For him, all he has to do is keep consistent results to get to the end. As long as he can keep consistent results, the average of his results so far, if he does that, he's going to win the championship. Well, assuming everybody else keeps the average of the results so far. Unless somebody like Patricio O'Ward all of a sudden steps up and wins the races that he should have won and gets on the podium in the races that he should have got on the podium, okay, then that might throw a wrench. Then Scott Dixon might have to step up a little bit more. But if everything stays constant the way it is right now, and usually does, then Scott Dixon will be the IndyCar champion.